Hello and welcome to the Powerboost meditation. Today, let us experiment with the theme, disengage from your story. Disengage from your story. We all know that we are spiritual beings. We are actors. And as actors, we have been given a role to play according to a script. We're all taking part in this play of life, and we all have different stories. And so it's one thing to be aware of the story, to be aware of my role, my part. And the other is to be constantly engaged or constantly processing the story. There is one story that is happening in the physical dimension, but then the ego mind creates another story based on its own perceptions. And that story often gets played and replayed inside the mind. And so the reactive mind often engages in that story, which is getting played inside the mind. And so a very easy way to experience being myself, an easy way to experience the reality, the truth, to experience the love that exists naturally within the soul and all around the soul and coming from the divine, is to very simply disengage from the story. The moment I disengage, the story no longer has the power over my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions. It's like I allow myself to be myself in a very natural way. The moment I engage in the story, my attention is pulled towards, is drawn towards little things that happen in the story. It could be drawn towards the past. It could be drawn towards the future. It could be drawn towards others' opinions. It could be drawn towards, just the to-do list. There's so many things that it can easily get drawn towards. And quite often that small thing becomes big inside the mind. And that's where I realize that disengaging, from time to time, just making it a very easy and simple practice to disengage from the story and then to engage the mind with the divine. It's only when I have taken time to just disengage my mind from the story, I can then engage my mind with the divine, which means that I can easily then experience the presence of the divine. I can easily experience the truth, the peace, the happiness, the love. Everything becomes a very natural experience. So the only attention is to just from time to time disengage from the story. And the more I build this muscle, the more I develop this habit of disengaging from the story, engaging with the divine, it becomes kind of the default consciousness to stay disengaged. Generally, the default consciousness is to stay engaged in the story world. But then the default consciousness is then to be disengaged. And whenever there is a need, there is a task to be done, there is any service to be accomplished, then the consciousness very gently shifts the attention to the visible world, comes into the part, plays the role, and then very naturally becomes disengaged again. It's in the disengaged mode that the soul is able to be itself. The greatest gift that we can give to the world, give to others is just to be ourselves as spiritual beings of light, as these beautiful beings, the soul. We have all the inner powers, we have everything. It's just giving ourselves the time, that space to be ourselves. And so disengaging the mind from the story allows me to engage it with the divine in a very easy way. So let us take a few moments to disengage. It's like this mind has an on and off position. Either it is engaged in the story, where the mind is actively experiencing whatever is happening inside the story. In these few moments, let me gently choose to disengage. I'm still aware of the story, of the role that I, the being, the soul, am playing. But I choose to distance myself, to separate myself from the story for some time. I realize that I, the being, the soul, I am participating in this story through the costume, the instrument of the body. The moment I detach my attention from the world of the body, I can very easily disengage from the story of the body, the story of the role. As I gently disengage from this external world, I come back to being my true self, the being of light, a being of peace, a being who is completely innocent and fully wise. In my awakened consciousness, this is who I really am. I very easily disengage my mind for a few minutes from the story as I give myself space and time to be myself and travel beyond and engage myself with the truth. I engage my mind in the reality where I naturally experience the loving presence of the divine. In this dimension of light, just I, the being, lost in the love of the One. There's no effort needed to experience the truth. Just to absorb the presence of the divine. Just as a small child feels completely safe, secure, and loved, I, the being, the soul, feel completely loved by the divine. I don't have to make any effort to experience this love. This unconditional love naturally exists between the being and the divine. I give myself this time to get lost, to get engaged to the divine. Divine is completely disengaged from the story. And that's why his mind is unlimited. His mind is completely benevolent, always giving, always accepting. Being absorbed in the silent presence of the divine, I experience the same in a very natural way. I feel being held in the cocoon of silent love of the One. In this cocoon, I'm able to emerge from within the real self. I'm able to experience myself. This consciousness is natural. This consciousness is easy and real. I've engaged myself to this truth. This becomes my primary default mode. Just staying up here, soaking in the divine presence. And now, when it is time to step inside the costume, to get inside the story world, I very easily come back into the story, into the costume, being aware of the part, the role. Even if I'm here, I'm still engaged in the reality. Mind easily disengages from the story and experiences being a silent, benevolent observer. Om Shanti. Thank you.